Welcome back, Deep Divers. Alex here, absolutely buzzing for today's episode. Because, Jamie, I swear, every time we dig into one of these deep dives, my mind gets blown wide open.
Oh, Alex, I love that energy. And honestly, today's topic, based on Kyla Scanlon's incredible new book, In This Economy, is one of those concepts that will fundamentally change how you view everything around you. It's not just a book, it's a paradigm shift.
Ooh, a paradigm shift. I'm ready. What are we cracking open today?
Well, Kyla Scanlon, who you might know from coining the term vibe session back in 2022, basically argues that the economy isn't just about cold, hard data and sterile numbers. It's about our vibes. Our collective feelings, emotions, and perceptions actually have a surprising amount of power over economic outcomes. She calls it the vibe economy.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me my mood affects GDP? Like, if I'm grumpy because gas prices are high, that actually does something? My brain is short-circuiting a little here. I thought economics was all graphs and calculations.
Exactly. That's the beauty of Kyla's perspective. It's not just a feeling, it's a feedback loop. She explains how consumer sentiment, our overall vibe, not only affects how much we borrow, spend, save, and earn, but it literally moves the needle on food prices, gas prices, shelter costs, wages, and so much more.
So it's not just the numbers themselves, it's the story we tell ourselves about the numbers and the feelings those stories create. Like, the media plays a huge role in this then.
Precisely. Kyla touches on this directly in her introduction. She talks about how algorithms controlling our news feeds reward alarmism over objectivity. Headlines, she says, are served to us with a nice topping of whipped cream, fluff and froth exacerbating each and every issue, so we become as reactive and worried and mad as possible.
Oh, like when every news headline screams about an impending doom scenario, even if the data's just mildly concerning? That totally shifts my mood, and then I start tightening my belt without even consciously thinking about it.
Exactly. And that, my friend, is a perfect illustration of what Kyla calls the uncertainty cake. It's a recipe composed of expectations, theory, and reality. When those three diverge, when what we expect to happen, what theory says should happen, and what's actually happening are all out of sync, that's when the vibes get really weird.
The uncertainty cake. I love that. So if I'm understanding this, people experience something, like the 2008 recession, then they see evidence, like skyrocketing home prices today, and that shapes their interpretation, another unprecedented event. Then that shapes their expectations. Things are starting to suck, and I think they're going to suck a lot more, which shapes their behavior. I'd better ask for a raise, which shapes company behavior. We need to raise prices, which shapes Fed policy. We need to slow inflation, so we're hiking rates. And then the cycle just keeps going.
You just perfectly mapped out Kyla's economic circle of life, Alex. It's all interconnected. And she brings in some brilliant historical context for this, too. John Maynard Keynes, the legendary economist, coined the term animal spirits to describe how emotions can influence people's decisions and market behavior. Concepts like irrational exuberance, herd mentality, and risk appetite all fall under this sentiment-driven umbrella.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me my primal urge to buy that new gadget or panic sell my stocks? That's Keynes talking?
Kind of. It's that emotional, often irrational human element driving economic decisions, rather than purely logical ones. But then Kyla also brings in George Soros's theory of reflexivity.
Soros, the legendary investor. What's his take on this vibe thing?
He argues there's a fundamental feedback loop between what people think will happen and what actually ends up happening, which in turn changes the way people think. It's a continuous, self-reinforcing process.
Whoa, so like the internet bubble example she gives. In the late 90s, everyone believed the internet would revolutionize businesses, which it did, but also that traditional valuation metrics didn't apply to these companies. That belief led to investors pouring money in, driving prices up, which reinforced the belief even further, attracting more investors, until pop.
Exactly. It blurred the line. Was the company growing because the stock price was high? Or was the stock price high because people expected it to grow, attracting talent and investment that made it grow? It's perception becoming reality. And Kyla even brings in economist Fisher Black, who wrote, "I think that the price level and rate of inflation are indeterminate. They are whatever people think they will be." He emphasizes that expectations follow no rational rules.
That's insane. So if everyone expects inflation, they ask for raises, businesses raise prices to cover those costs, and boom, inflation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like a collective hallucination we all manifest.
You absolutely nailed it, Alex. Our vibes compound. Your vibes compound with everyone else's vibes, and that, at a very basic level, creates consumer sentiment. And as Kyla points out, consumer sentiment is everything because it drives consumer spending, which is the central driver of GDP growth.
Okay, this is really starting to sink in. So the economy isn't this abstract thing out there. It's literally us, all of us, collectively feeling things and reacting.
Precisely. And to help us understand how these feelings interact with the more traditional structures, Kyla uses another fantastic analogy, the economic kingdom.
Ooh, kingdom. I'm picturing castles and dragons. What's the biggest, most important castle?
The monetary policy castle, presided over by the Federal Reserve. Its main job in this analogy is to manage the entire kingdom, most directly influencing two other castles, inflation and the labor market.
So the Fed is like the king, firing cannons to keep things in line.
Precisely. Those cannons are things like raising interest rates. If they fire a contractionary cannon, raising rates, it makes borrowing money more expensive, which cools down demand for goods and services. It's like putting the brakes on the economy.
And what about the moats around other castles, like the housing market, the stock market, or the bond market?
Those moats provide insulation. Sometimes, as Kyla says, the Fed may fire a cannon and the cannonball might land with much of a hit, meaning it didn't do much. In other cases, it might damage a drawbridge or take out an attacking army like unwanted inflation. But the castles are strong, and there are too many variables for "I hit this and there are direct consequences" to always work. It's a complex system.
So the Fed hikes rates, but my house price still goes up. That's the moat at work, providing some protection or delay.
Exactly. It shows the incredible complexity and the challenge of direct control. And then there's the US dollar castle, which Kyla calls a secret weapon of the monetary policy castle because of its impact on neighboring lands, developed and emerging markets.
How so? Like a strong dollar is good, right?
It's good for some things, but it has huge geopolitical consequences. For example, a strong US dollar makes Chinese imports more expensive for American consumers and businesses. So Americans buy less stuff from China. Chinese goods become less competitive, potentially leading to a decline in Chinese export revenues. Far-reaching impacts from the almighty dollar.
Wild. And what about commodities? Oil, gas, metals, agricultural products. Are those also castles?
Absolutely. Kyla calls the commodity castle another core part of the economic kingdom. They are the common denominator between everything we interact with daily: our phones, clothes, food, cars. If the commodity castle didn't exist, neither would the economic kingdom.
It's like the raw materials that build the entire kingdom. Without them, there's nothing. And I guess our vibes are heavily influenced by the commodity castle, right? Like the price of gas is something everyone sees every day.
Spot on, Alex. Kyla highlights this with the gas prices example. Those bright neon signs on every street corner remind us of how expensive it is to be alive. High gas prices impact everyone who owns a car, but they also affect the prices of goods that require transportation, which is basically everything we buy. Not to mention heating homes and producing electricity. Oil is the common denominator, and everything is swayed by its cost.
So if oil prices are high, we feel bad. And if we feel bad, the economy feels bad. It's that reflexivity again, but on a massive daily scale.
Precisely. And she even explains OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, and how their decisions on how much oil to produce directly affect oil prices worldwide. So OPEC's actions don't just affect the supply of oil, they affect our collective emotional state, which then affects spending, which then impacts the entire economy. It's all so deeply connected.
This is really making me rethink what money even is. Is it just paper or numbers on a screen?
That's a fantastic segue, because Kyla dedicates an entire chapter to the weird world of money. She says money is mostly a social construct that relies on people's trust. Money is a commodified product, a promise.
A promise? So money is literally just something we all agree has value, like a collective delusion that works because everyone buys into it?
Exactly. It's the glue that holds society together because we have collective trust in it. And she breaks down money's three core attributes using a brilliant analogy: bananas and trucks.
Bananas and trucks. Tell me more.
First, money is a store of value. $1 today will generally buy the same number of bananas or trucks tomorrow, though inflation complicates this. It holds its purchasing power over time. Second, it's a unit of account. It can be used to compare values. $1 can buy one banana, whereas many dollars can buy a truck. And third, it's a medium of exchange. You can go to the grocery store or a truck dealership with your dollars, and they'll accept it as valid payment.
So it holds value, you can measure with it, and you can trade with it. It's so fundamental, but the idea that it's all based on trust, that